Hello and welcome to yet another video here on the YouTube channel Spelfrämjande Fellowship SDF. My name's Andreas Norwegian Viking and this is Wargaming Discussions. It is Friday currently and I'm recording this on the Friday, hoping that my sound equipment does not fail me this time. I've recorded this last week already and it did not go that well, but we will try one second take. So before we start, thank you to all our new subscribers. We just launched our 750 subscriber competition where we give out a free Goblin Town army for SPG, about 36 goblins plus characters, even a hero goblin captain in resin in there, so you can get a chance to get yourself an entire army just by being a subscriber. This is of course for both existing and new subscribers. We just reached about 700 I think, so not far to go. And we do also have our 1,000 subscriber competition, so it's not over if you don't win this time. We will continue doing this yeah, as often as we can. We like to give out stuff for you guys as well, for supporting our channel. Another way to support our channel is by donating regularly to our Patreon. We do have for $1 or more the ability to support us in our endeavors, and that might give us a YouTube studio pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. So do check that out in the link below. But let's get on to our main discussion. So not a lot to go through in the last month episode. We can just go quickly to that episode now, because we had the how to survive a tournament episode. Should be, yeah, it's about a month ago now since the last episode, and I'm terribly sorry about that. But we discussed basically how to survive a tournament, what you should bring, what you should prepare, how you should prepare to do it. And we got a few comments from our friend Stephen Bonner, who said Iron Brew is a must. And again, thank you for that lovely Iron Brew at Desolation of Stockport. That was fantastic. Completely forgot I wasn't allowed to have drink from outside in the venue, so I was told off for that, and no worries at all. We would like to support the venue we're in as well. That's also something you can take to survive a tournament. Be aware of rules at the venue. So drank the rest when I got to the hotel that Saturday evening, so again, wonderful. So basically he says food, water and sugar, that's all that's required to play a weekend, and I agree. Eat, drink lots of liquids, and get some sugar rush when you really need it. That's a good way to survive. So let's get on to this week's topic, and I'm hoping to make this a weekly thing again. Just been a bit busy of late. So we had a few suggestions last week when I tried to do this video, and we are going with a suggestion by Leon Curry. It was very sad that my sound equipment failed, so we'll try to do it right this time around. So Leon says, what about the pros and cons of being bound to a background, SPG, Harry Potter, the likes, or having the game completely created by the company, like for instance Warhammer or 40k, and the fact that there will be so many new licensed games this year, like Harry Potter, Fallout and Game of Thrones. So for you that has not followed the recent trend, there is a slew of licensed games coming out. We of course have the Harry Potter, well, not strategy battle game, but there's a Harry Potter game coming out from Night Models, the makers of DC miniatures game, as well as the now out of print Marvel miniatures game. They've also previously made some fantastic Lord of the Rings miniatures. I do believe some are still in print. They're bigger size than the SPG ones, but they are fantastic. Really, really lovely quality. They even do large size models as well. And they have launched, or at least they have teased their Harry Potter game with quite a lot of cool miniatures. I've seen a model of Snape. I've seen a model of Mad-Eye Moody, and a model of Emma Watson's character. Oh wow, that's deep. Hermione Granger, that's it. Alright, and also a company, what's that company's name? Made the Fallout miniatures game. Damn it, I can't remember. So there's a Fallout miniatures game coming out. Probably could just Google it and it'll come up. And also a Game of Thrones miniatures game is coming out, and I do believe that's Cool Mini or not. Correct me if I'm wrong. So lots of cool new licensed games coming out. So with that said, what's the pros and cons of being bound to a set background? Well, I would say off the top of my head, not really that much, because you can make stuff happen even though you're bound by certain backgrounds. So for instance, the Hobbit SPG, formerly known as Lord of the Rings SPG, was originally made as a companion piece for the movies, but within a year, when did Shadow and Flame come out? 2002, I would say about 2002. So Shadow and Flame was a supplement that came out within the first year of The Hobbit, I do believe, if I'm not completely wrong. And that supplement included models and profiles not previously seen in the movies. You had Dwarf Warriors, you had the introduction of Khazad-Guard, you had Balin, you had Dane, you had Dwarf Captains. So Dwarves became the first pure army by itself you could get. So previously you only had named models and some troops. But now you could properly do an army with unnamed captains. You could do pretty much full complete army set in the theme of Lord of the Rings, but not taken directly from the movies. So this is of course drawing from the original source material, the book, which Games Workshop has a license to, but it was not directly from the movie. It was originated on currently. So it took imagery from the movies. It used Weta Workshop designs and stuff like that to make the models look and feel like they belonged in the miniatures games with the other models. And Khazad-Guard and all of the other models, barring some of them that has been replaced by newer models, like for instance Radagast, are now staple of the SPG we know today. So it has been a long road, but I don't think it has a huge effect on the limitations of the game. Another thing you could say is that the background itself is a guideline. So you have a set background. For instance, Frodo goes to Mordor, drops the ring in Mount Doom, and that is it. But what if scenarios are a huge part of any game. There are multiple what if scenarios published in White Dwarf. One of them is the attack on Rivendell during the Council of Elrond. So there's a huge attack with all the heroes have to defend on their turf against a superior force. And that is quite an interesting scenario, and one we would like to play in the Grand Campaign once we get to the Fellowship. So you can of course make what if scenarios. This of course competitive play like tournaments does make you stretch a bit for the imagination. What if this character was in this army? what if this character was included in this army from this time period. You can even stretch it to, okay, so if I want to include Eowyn in, or maybe another one, if you would include not Erkenbrand, Eorl the Young in a force of New Age, like Pelennor Field style Rohirrim army, you could, for instance, say he is Elfhelm, or one of the other named heroes. You could supplant him for Grimbold, maybe, because Grimbold has a, in my opinion, terrible profile. Please give a Grimbold a horse. Why did not give him a horse? So that's one point of making it. One other point is that it having a set background made by someone else makes it so that you can have your writers, the fluff writers, write around the theme and not directly to the theme itself. So you can have the source material and you can flesh out certain points. Of course, I'm not familiar with how a licensed game IP works. How your license agreement allows you to expand upon backgrounds and stuff like that. But you can, of course, create fluff if it fits and if it's allowed by your agreement with the company giving you the license. And that takes, I believe, less time than writing a complete set of background for yourself. So Black Library is doing quite well for itself, writing fluff. And for you uninitiated folks, fluff means backstory for their armies and making up stories, and that is a huge resource. But it also takes resource potentially away from what you're actually trying to make, which is a game. So having the characters all fleshed out, having only to maybe write a similar text but not too dissimilar from the one he's introduced with, and also make it fit with the rest of the way you're writing the stuff, makes it possible for you to commit your resources elsewhere, like actually writing good rules, which I think the Hobbit SPG has done marvellously. It is a great game, no denying it. It has some kinks still, but I'm fairly confident that our man in Nottingham will make those small kinks work out in a new upcoming edition. So yeah. And you can also, like, competitive play. Some people like to use the background, some people does not. And in a Age of Sigmar army or in a 40k army, it is exactly the same. So you can use the fluff as guidelines for making your army. Some armies might find that more easy than others, but you can use that as a sort of a guiding line to making your army. For instance, if I was to make a Rohan army and not really think of min-maxing everything, I would use, of course, Eomer, Knight of Pelennor, Theoden, even though he's a bit rubbish with the rules he's currently in. I would use Eowyn, Erkenbrand is a good choice, and then have loads of riders, maybe not as many red shields as normally is used in an army if taking fluff. And even though he's not mounted, he's mentioned in the movie Grimbold, I might have taken him. So that's one way of making an army fit the fluff. If I was to disregard the fluff, I might have taken Eorl the Young, just calling him Elfhelm, or maybe not at all, and using not Theoden at all, still using Knight of Pelennor, still using Erkenbrand, still using Eowyn, and have all the Westfold Red Shields and Sons of Eorl I could put into that army to make it the best. So that's two ways of making an army. Both fit the theme, but one is not like the other. Another way to make an army is to make it ultra fluffy, like just use things you've seen in that one scene of the movie or is written about in that one page of the book, for instance. And that could be a fun way to do an army, but not necessarily the best army. So it all depends on your own perspective, how you go about making your army. How much you want to win does play a part in it. So I don't feel that the game itself is worse for wear having a set background. The background is a guideline. You can, of course, with the point system, with the ally system, use whatever you like. Good can ally with good, evil can ally with evil. There are little to no restrictions of it in the Hobbit SPG. And in Age of Sigmar and in 40k, I just read a post now that 40k is removing all their army restrictions. As long as you have detachments in your faction, you can use whatever detachments you want. So that's also removing themselves from that disadvantage of only having to take things from the same army. I know they had that in 7th edition as well, but a bit more restrictions back then, or still, because 8th edition isn't out yet. It's coming out fairly soon though, in June, I would guess. So pros of being bound by a background is, of course, that the fluff is already written. You only have to write around it to make fitting rules and profiles. The cons of being bound by a background is, of course, that you have to do the background work yourself. I could be a pro, of course. The background for Horus Heresy is amazing, and that is completely made by the guys behind 40k. In the small snippets of information we got back in 2nd edition or even Rogue Trader was bits and pieces of information about the Horus Heresy. That was over time fleshed out, and in 2006 I believe we got the first story, like Horus Rising was published, and that was a 400-page novel which you could read the first bits of background about the Horus Heresy, and that was fantastic. So yeah, a company might have more ownership of their own IP, so they could control it more and make stuff fit for them and not the other way around. But either way you're looking at it, a miniatures game in itself is bound by two things. Does it look cool? And does it have good rules? That is, for me, the most important bits. If a miniatures game looks cool, I'm drawn to it instantly because I like models. And if it has good rules, I might be more inclined to play it other than just paint it. And with my current schedule of painting, I might not have the time to paint something just to paint it for a long time coming. So that's me a bit rambling on. I do hope you put your own suggestions in the comments below about your take on your own RP. Is it worth it having to borrow someone else's IP? Is it worth doing your own RP with that huge background work being done by one of your own writers in-house? And please give suggestions on future topics, as I'm currently I have a few, but nothing I'm really keen on doing without having to spend a lot of time to do research, and time for me currently is a bit slim. So yeah, I would appreciate some cool, easy to take on topics, and always interested in hearing about your thoughts about that. So do comment below with that. As always, do check out our Patreon in the link below. It is a wonderful way to be able to support us. $1 up is all you need to support us a month to keep us going, and for the higher levels, you get physical goods. You also get perks, discounts from places like Deep Cut Studios, which does great mats. We just did 2 unrollings, not unboxings, of their wonderful mats. So do check that out, and you can earn yourself quite a hefty discount if you buy a mat. I think the discount alone is worth that $10 you pay us for getting that discount. So do check that out in the link. And please comment, like, share and subscribe, and support your hobby.